Wait, the Hangout on Air is live. Good morning, welcome. Happy Friday. Everybody flex those muscles. Get ready, stretch, take a deep breath. Inhale, exhale. Get ready for an exciting show. Matt is here from Expensify, and he's got his electric guitar. He's going to play something for us later. And I'm going to bang on the drums at some point, maybe throughout the whole entire hour. Before we get into the meat, sorry for the vegetarians out there, of today's session, a couple things going on. Got an email this morning. T-Sheets has a new look they're giving their mobile app, it looks like. Did any of you guys get that email? Did you get the memo?
I did.
I did get the memo, but I haven't logged in yet today. I haven't punched in. I better punch in, huh?
It looks like they want certain select people to opt in to try the new interface before they roll it out to everyone. So I think I didn't read the whole email yet. I did click over to see the, what it looks like, and so we'll find out. And I imagine if I read the whole email, there's probably some instructions about how to let them know that you'd like to opt in and kind of try it out and give them your feedback. So, but that's exciting, right? Always exciting, which brings up another point. Today, by the end of the show, we're going to give away some T-shirts here. Eric has more sizes. My friends at Expensify were good enough to create these shirts with my likeness on them.
I love it.
So, it's the Expensify logo with my likeness. So if you want to walk around and have people ask you, who on earth is that? What's funny is somebody I went to high school with yesterday found a video from the Jay Leno show that I was in on one of their segments, the Pumpcast News segment, for a few minutes. And she chatted me, she got me in the Facebook chat and said, "Holy cow, I just saw you on YouTube. It was totally random." And she reminded me that was from years ago. So I asked her to send me the link, and I posted it in our Abo group on Facebook. That was my less than 15 minutes of fame on the Jay Leno show. But I had forgotten about that. That was very funny. I thought they'd taken it down, actually.
No, whatever you put on the internet stays there forever.
Yeah. What happens on the internet stays on the internet.
Forever and
on
ever.
The original NBC website, I remember years ago, sometime after, looking for it, and it was gone. And I didn't really know how to search YouTube for it. I wouldn't know. I guess turns out there's a YouTube channel for Pumpcast News, so I guess the guy who does that, Jack Rafferty, is he does it on his own, separate and apart from just the Jay Leno show. But that was very funny. I actually remember that day because I was in a really bad mood that morning, and I was in a bad mood because I was running late to go see a client who was way across town. I mean, I was at the Costco in Burbank, filling up literally to head over to Santa Monica. Which, for those of you who live in California or know the geography, you know that on a weekday morning, getting from Burbank to Santa Monica should take 20 minutes, but actually takes an hour and a half because of traffic. That's the reality. That's the world, and that's why I work from home. That's why I work in this beautiful home office of mine, where my commute is from the bedroom to here. And as you can see, I got very dressed up today, right, to come to the office, to go to work.
Me too.
I got my T-Sheets hat on. I'm representing, and ready to rock and roll. So T-Sheets, exciting news, updating the mobile app. Matt, can we talk about any updates coming out with Expensify?
We sure can.
Our mobile app.
Absolutely. So with our mobile app, we've had the same dashboard available for probably I want to say like the last 2 years. And while it's a fantastic looking mobile app, a lot better than most expense management apps out there, we decided it was time for a change. We wanted to make sure everything was super easy to use, that it looked really appealing, get some cool animations in there. And so within the next couple of weeks, we're actually going to be releasing a brand new mobile app. And that's not just for iPhone. It is iPhone, Android, Windows, and BlackBerry. So keep your eyes peeled for that. I think Seth already has his hands on it. And I'm wondering how he feels about it.
I'll be honest, I haven't installed it yet. I'm kind of stupid when it comes to that. I don't know how to install an APK file, but I'll figure it out. Because usually I just go into the Google Play Store and But I'll figure it out, and then as you know, as soon as I play with it, I'll give you your feedback. So it's functional. When I install it, it's going to work just like the app. It's not like some sample beta test version.
Oh no, it's a fully functional app. This is how we, as we make changes to the application, the employees get first dibs at it to make sure that any bugs that might be there, that we iron them out prior to releasing to the public. So you have a private beta of the app.
And then, I do have one feature request, which I know a lot of employers out there really want, and I'm wondering maybe you've already put it into the new mobile app version. Something that, like, in the middle of the night goes off really loud, reminding them that they haven't yet submitted their expense report.
I don't know how employees would feel about that. They might lose a little bit of faith in us, but that's definitely something we could think about adding.
I just want to be able to zap them, like, hey, come on.
Shoot a laser at them or something.
Yeah, just give them like a mild electric shock.
So while we don't have an electric shock or an alarm, we do have a couple features in place for our company cards that allow us to automatically create reports and then send them a quick email saying, hey, this is ready for you to send out. We also have some really cool things that I don't think you even know about, Seth, something we like to call real-time expense reporting. And so we're going to be adding a bunch of features to the entire app, not just the mobile one, here in the next, I'd say, a couple weeks to maybe 2 months. One of those would be what we call admin visibility. And so that's when admins can see all open reports. So these are expenses related to businesses. They can go ahead and submit those on behalf of the employee too. So no more waiting for the employee to click submit. We can force the report to be submitted so that we can do what we need with it.
That's awesome. Okay, so that kind of solves the problem I was trying to solve with the electroshock therapy.
Still a good idea, though. What I'm going to be suggesting.
Well, I tease my friends at T-Sheets. I'm like, if just to be able to zap people, like if because they have the GPS tracking. Which, by the way, I absolutely am blown away by the GPS tracking you guys have in the mobile app for tracking mileage.
Mm-hmm.
One question though, and this is just one of I'm famous for stupid questions. Why do you guys call it track distance and not track mileage? I'm assuming you put some thought into that and came up with a reason for why you say track distance specifically.
So I think the reasoning behind that is we also have quite a few customers abroad, and so while I think in the UK they call it mileage actually, which is really weird to me. Not everywhere else calls it mileage.
Right, they call it kilometers. You know what? And see, that's where I'm. What do they call it? Ethnocentric. Mm-hmm. When you only think about your own culture, it's kind of like the selfish, the version of being selfish about your own country and culture. So, very good point. So, kilometers. If I say track mileage, somebody's going to think, well, can I not track kilometers then? Or that's what probably most of the rest of the world is actually using is kilometers. So
exactly.
All right, great job then. So track distance makes sense. I think we can probably get started pretty soon with the actual demonstration. But first, just so everybody knows, by the end of the show, and anybody who's in the group, on Google+, first of all, if you have any questions throughout, please post them there. Just post a comment under the video. And for those of you who have clicked to watch the video and are wondering how to get out of it where it kind of enlarges and fills up your screen, near the top right of that video pop-out, there's a kind of right-pointing arrow. It's in the right corner pointing kind of diagonally up to the right. It's a good thing I demonstrated that right here diagonally. If you click that, it'll pop the video out in a separate window. Right? See, everybody do it now. Everybody go like this.
Which way is right? Which way is left?
So if you click that, it'll pop that out in a separate window so you can watch us in one part of your screen or on one monitor and actually type your questions, comments, and feedback in the other. So we welcome that. And also, whoever correctly guesses the color of Joanne's shirt by the end of the show will get a free T-shirt. And we'll give you some more opportunities later to get one of these T-shirts and wear them. So you have to correctly guess: is Joanne's shirt blue, or is it black, or is it white, or is it gold?
Or none of the above.
Or none of the above. Maybe it has no color at all. It's just an illusion. It's an optical delusion. All right, so if nobody else has anything else, welcome Jay Kimmelman to the show for the first time. If you want to unmute and say hello, please feel free to do so.
I'm glad to be here.
Glad to have you.
Thank you.
And we have Beth here, who it looks like has gone completely dark, but she's listening and watching. But she's got her camera off and she's muted. But Beth, if you want to unmute and say hello, say hello. Don't think we've seen you before. Sarah, you've been with us a few times. You've been actually pretty consistent now every week, haven't you?
I've tried, yes. The last two I haven't made it, but I'm going to keep trying. And Gina, I'm wanting to join yours as well, hopefully.
Oh, good, good.
Yeah. So,
Well, then we will see you later this afternoon. We'll be talking about Xero. We'll have a Xero demo.
That's great. Thank you.
And then, yeah, so Jay, if you want, get on that one. I know Jay is a big Xero fan. So if you're around, Jay, 2:30 Pacific, 5:30 Eastern this afternoon, Gina has a Xero demo. I'm sure she'd love to have you. And then we have another new friend with us here whose name is in a language I cannot read, but welcome. Okay, with that, I think we can get started. And the other, of course, big news aside from T-Sheet's new mobile app and the fact that Expensify is coming out with a new mobile app is that as of yesterday, I did actually manage to get the entire Expensify course live on schoolofbookkeeping.com. So Matt's going to give us the demo and give you the live interactive feedback, question, answer, whatever you need. We're also going to take a look at something I didn't touch on in the course, which is going to be, we're going to get a look at the integration with Xero. Hopefully we'll get at least a quick look at what that looks like. Really what it's going to come down to is when you get into the connections part of your policy, you're going to choose the Xero software instead of what I did in the course, which is choosing. I did the QuickBooks Desktop, and I also showed you QuickBooks Online integration towards the end. So that's what we're going to be taking a look at. The course is live and it's free to the public. So you can go on there. Just go to schoolofbookkeeping.com/Expensify, I believe is the URL. We try to keep it simple. And you can go on there and take the course. There's 12 lessons, and I just kind of eyeballed the times in my head, and I added up that it looks like it's over 100 minutes of video lessons that you can watch, so you can see step by step, firsthand, how to do everything that you wanted to know how to do in Expensify, but were afraid to ask. So all of that's there. And with that, I'm going to shut up and turn it over to Matt. Matt, you know how to share your screen?
To be honest, I've never done it on a Google Hangouts. You might have to give me a little bit of direction.
No problem. This is what I do for a living. So if you hover your mouse over anywhere on the actual Hangout where you're presently seeing my wonderful mug, you'll see a little toolbar pop out to the left, and about 3 icons down, you'll see a green monitor with a curvy right pointing arrow. There's something about that right pointing arrow thing. Must be a Google thing, but if you click that, you'll start to get options for sharing your screen and which screen you want to share and how much of it you want to share and for how long.
Cool.
Actually,
All
I
right.
made up the for how long part. There we go.
I just switched over. Hopefully everybody can see.
Yep, and for those of you kids watching from home, if you click on Matt's thumbnail, it will keep his screen sort of primary so that you can see exactly what he's doing.
Cool. So for those of you that have downloaded the app or signed up for Expensify, this is our wonderful mobile app, the one that I was talking about earlier, where it is going to change, but it's going to change for the better. It's going to be a lot easier, less clutter. We're really excited about it. But the first feature I want to talk about is our Smart Scan feature. So that wonderful looking icon there with the camera, where when you click on that, it's going to pop open your phone's camera and give you the opportunity to take a picture of your receipt. And so if that's, you're at Pete's Coffee here in San Francisco, pick up a nice looking latte, and while you're waiting for it, you can go ahead and take a picture of your receipt. Once you've done that, you can do whatever you want with that receipt. Everybody in the office likes to joke that I burn my receipts, and I hold like a weekly burning. I like to collect them and pay tribute to the receipt gods. But after you've taken that picture, we do a couple things for you. So we're going to save it to your account, so you can make sure to add it to expenses. We're also going to transcribe it too. So we use something called OCR technology to go ahead and pull up a merchant date and amount, and then we match it up with any credit card or bank feeds that you've added to your account, whether that's your personal card or also company cards as well. So pretty cool there. Saves a lot of time and hassle. No more manual entry. If I wanted to just add a manual expense like I'm used to in the past, pretty straightforward. Adding the merchant name, amount, the date. We decide what report to add it to. I can pick from my categories. These are brought in from QuickBooks at the moment. We'll take a look at how that happens. And then down at the bottom, I could also flag it as billable or reimbursable, both or none. So some options there. For tracking time, it's going to be extremely straightforward. Maybe not as advanced as T-sheets, but still a handy feature to have. Just total hours, hourly rate. We're going to create an expense based on that, and again, you can add your details to that expense. Tracking distance. I want to highlight distance is what we call it in the Expensify app. You've got the three options. Is the up at the top is just manually inputting your distance. So total distance traveled. Mileage rate is set in the background by the administrator. We do default to the IRS rate when you create a new policy. And then you can select miles or kilometers for our friends overseas. We've got the odometer option. So this is taking a picture of your odometer at start and stop. And then we're going to create a reading for you. And then the third option, and this is pretty sweet, awesome for me because I get really lazy when it comes to mileage tracking, is our GPS feature, where I can hit start at the beginning of my trip, hit stop at the end of my trip, and then it's going to create a automatic expense for me. Not to get everybody's hopes up, but something we plan on adding for this is going to be automatic mileage tracking, similar to like a Mile IQ, where we track your driving no matter what, and then you tell us if it's a business-related expense or not. So not something that's currently available, but down the road is going to be part of the mobile app. We've got our expenses. So these are the charges that I've brought in from a credit card. You can see whether they've been added to a report already. So we've got the report title. For the ones that have an image, you can find one right there. We've got a great looking image to let us know we took a picture of that one. For the ones that need to be taken care of, they show as unreported. And so we could go into that receipt, or that expense, excuse me, and we can make changes to it. So we could select the category for it. With QuickBooks, we're able to import in other lists like customers, jobs, classes, things like that. And so I could select from those. We're going to not save those changes today. Then I can look at my reports. So all of the reports that I've got in my account, the different states that they're in, whether they're approved, reimbursed, processing, open, closed. So I'm able to take a look at all of those. I can go into them, see what I've done. For those reports that are still in the works that I still have yet to submit to somebody, you can do everything from your phone. So there's actually no need to touch the website. We find that about 70% of our users actually never log into our online application. They do everything from their phone. So it's pretty good there.
Can I ask a question?
You sure can.
Where do the reports get? Can you send reports like to Excel, to QuickBooks, to Xero? How do they get interfaced?
That's a fantastic question, and we're actually going to take a look at that here in just a little bit. So that's just one quick other thing I wanted to highlight is our trip section, which is pretty cool. Anytime you've got a trip, you're able to forward in your itinerary to receipts@expensify.com. We're going to take the information out of that itinerary and place it here in your trip section, so you're able to keep track of that, and we actually notify you when changes are made. And something I'm kind of proud of, we actually notify you ahead of time, so before the airline even does. A couple weeks ago, I was sitting in the Phoenix airport waiting for my flight, thinking everything was good, that I only had another 30 minutes to wait, and then I got a notification from Expensify saying, hey, you've got another 6 hours to wait now. And so while it wasn't awesome that I had to wait, it was cool that Expensify told me before Southwest, so pretty cool there.
By the way, if I can interject something here real quick. For those of you, we're going to test how carefully people have been paying attention. So we're going to give away a T-shirt to anyone who can tell us which famous TV character was listed in the people that Matt had in his mobile app, who also it happens to be that Joanne's dog is named after. So there was one particular TV character that showed up there. If you can tell us who that was, then you get a free Expensify T-shirt with my picture on it.
So it wouldn't be fair if I answered the question then, right?
No, you can't answer the question.
Darn it, I always lose.
But we'll send you a T-shirt anyway, Joanne, just because you're you.
Wow.
Send Cosmo a T-shirt.
Uh-oh, oops.
All right. So I am now on the web application. If anybody can't see it, let me know, and we'll get that figured out. But now this is how, as an administrator, this is how I'm able to make changes. So I'm able to log in, head up to my admin option up at the top here, and then I come into, I go straight into our policies. And so in Expensify, a policy is a set of rules for a group of people. In most cases, for our bookkeepers, CPAs, external accountants, it's going to be a policy per client, and so you can think of it that way. Sometimes, maybe for a larger client, you can also split it up. Maybe they need a separate set of rules for their marketing department as opposed to their sales department. So if we go to take a look at one, we're going to do the online one here. We go take a look at the basic section, which is max expense age, max expense amount, what dollar amount receipts are required. We can set a home currency for anybody that needs to travel abroad. Down on our next page, we've got our connections. And this is where you make that connection with either QuickBooks, NetSuite, FreshBooks, Bill.com, Xero, you name it, we work with it. For any of the ones that we don't have a direct connection with, where we don't work with our APIs, we are able to customize exports. So maybe you're on like Dynamics, we're able to customize the export to fit what Dynamics accepts for an import. So similar to like Transaction Pro Importer, we're able to customize it to fit what that needs. For the QuickBooks Connection, we've got a lot of different options here. So we're going to bring in our QuickBooks accounts and categories. For other lists, we can bring in the tags. So this is just coding again at the line item level. We can do customers, jobs, classes, or both at the same time. And then any remaining lists we're going to bring in as a report field. And so this is a field that you would select for the entire report as opposed to having to select it for every single expense on the report. So it saves you a little bit of time. When we're sending information back to QuickBooks, we've got a couple of different options. For our reimbursables, we can do it as a vendor bill, check, or journal entry. And so I can change those around here. Or for our non-reimbursables, we can send it back as a credit card, debit card, or vendor bill. For the credit card, debit card charges, we're actually some of the only people to be able to do this right now, where you can export against the individual accounts, so all the child accounts, instead of having to send it back to like a parent one. And so we're able to set that up on the back end. Next, we've got our, go ahead.
Does it still import with just one vendor name and the true vendor name in the memo field?
For QuickBooks Desktop, yes.
Okay.
For online, it's just a little bit different. Next, we've got our categories. So these are those accounts that we've brought in from QuickBooks. We're going to bring them in pretty much all of them, so then you enable the ones that you'd want to see. And then you can set some special rules. So you can do max expense amount, whether it's by category, or we also do a per day, per diem feature, where maybe it's meals and entertainment. You can set a max amount per day for that category. We can make receipts required. And then we have our comments requiring those, and then giving them a hint as to what needs to go into that field. See this a lot on like an entertainment category where they need to either add who was there or give like the business purpose or something like that. We've also got our auto-categorized section where we recognize the merchant codes that come over from credit cards, personal cards, banks, anything like that. And then we group them. So if we buy a flight from United, it's going to fall into the airlines category. And then I can come over here, select from the categories that I've got enabled, That way, anytime a charge that fits that category comes in, it gets automatically set to that category by Expensify. Then we've got our tags. So those are the other lists that we bring in at the line level. And then we've got our people section. So this is how you invite employees to begin using Expensify. Now, pretty cool for our pricing. It's activity-based. So if you invited maybe all 100 employees in for your company, but only 3 use it that month, you only get billed for those 3. So no need to worry about adding people that maybe may not need to use it in the future. You can feel free to add everybody. And then as far as the approval flow goes, we can have it as simple as everybody submits all reports to one person, or we can have an advanced approval. Maybe you need to have like a supervisor in the middle or something like that. And so you can have as many tiers of approval as you like. You can set our distance and time rates here. And then we've got our report fields. So these are the other lists that we've made bring in from QuickBooks, like our location.
Those are class codes, right?
Yeah.
These are our locations in QuickBooks.
Oh, that's QuickBooks Online.
Yes, this is online. All right. So let's go take a look at creating an expense report in Expensify. So this is the expenses screen on the online application. I've got some handy filters over here on the left. Maybe I've got multiple cards. I can sort through them. If I needed to find a particular expense by date, again, I can sort through them. Let's just go ahead and add a couple to a report. All right, so now Expensify is going to create a report for me with those 3 expenses on it. The next tab we can look at is our receipts. I've just got the one in there. I didn't let Expensify Smart Scan it. I stopped it. So you can manually configure it if you wanted to, or if we wanted to have Expensify Smart Scan it, if we upload it, they can do that as well. So there's multiple options for getting receipts in. It's not just taking a picture from your phone. You can import from your computer, whether it's a image or a PDF or something like that. Or you can also forward your receipts in over email. So maybe it's like Amazon or a rental car or something like that. Most of those come via email, so you just forward it off to receipts@expensify.com. We recognize the email that it comes from, and then put it into your account.
Matt, can I ask you a question here?
You sure can.
And it's going to sound like I'm joking, but I'm actually serious. The Smart Scan is so amazing. For those of you who don't know what he's about to show us, Expensify will actually look at the receipt and pull out the key information, the merchant, the amount, the date. I have to ask this, Matt. Do you actually have people who manually look at these receipts to pull that information out, or do you actually have the technology, the OCR, that advanced that it's just, regardless of how crappy the quality of the photo is, it's able to pull that information out?
That's a fantastic question.
Yeah, that's a good question.
So it's a combination of the two. So for a lot of it, we do just the true OCR. Most of the time, though, we do have that human element to fall back to. So we do have people, making changes to the receipts for us. We actually have to do that because we have to maintain a high level of accuracy for American Express. We actually power their back-end receipt match technology, and so they require that we keep like something outrageous, like a 99.8% accuracy rate for our receipts. And so because of that, we have to have that human element to make sure that the technology gets it right.
I figured it had to be there had to be at some point a human actually looking at this stuff, because I mean it's just amazing. It's amazing the way that works. By the way, we do have one person chiming in on the color of Joanne's shirt. So remember, if you can accurately guess the color of Joanne's shirt, you get an Expensify T-shirt. So post your comments in the comment on the page.
All right. So next section would be our reports, and so you can see the one that I just started. That one's open and ready to get going. You can see ones that I've done in the past, and you can see if I've already sent it off to an external system like Xero or QuickBooks. So we have our handy little symbol here letting me know I'm done with it. So then once I head into the report, we can take a look at it, make changes to it. So I can select the location. I can go into my individual expenses, select the category that it belongs to. I can select from my tags. So these are my classes. I can leave a comment on the receipt. And now Thanks to Intuit, our test account is actually down at the moment. We have a ticket waiting for that to get fixed, so I can't actually send anything over. So I'm going to switch over to Xero and show you what it looks like to send a report over to that system. All right, so let's make sure I'm using the right categories here. We're going to save that. And so this is a little bit of a handy time saver. I don't have to go into each one individually.
And you can also customize that screen, right? I mean,
absolutely. We'll take a look at that here in just a second.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
So for some of you that are a little bit more used to maybe an Excel spreadsheet.
Is that Burp Castle? Is that a real place?
I believe so.
That's hysterical.
I've never been there, but I believe it's a real place. All the ones that come in here, I think, are real.
Burp.
Burp Castle.
I can only imagine what they serve there.
Maybe a lot of carbonated beverages.
That's probably likely.
Well, Seth, I still haven't found anybody better than the In-N-Out burger.
In-N-Out is amazing.
That is what a burger is about.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I know where I'm going after this hangout, guys, so thanks for the inspiration.
Getting
It's a
hungry.
little early for In-N-Out, though, Matt.
I think I'm still going to make it happen.
Wow. I think they do open by like 10, so.
All right. Yeah, so for you, those of you that are a little bit more used to maybe an Excel spreadsheet, where we let you play around with the view, so you can put it into a single table, and then depending on what you're hooked up to, you can group it by category or tag.
And then break down the group or single table.
That's the way I like to edit. I like to sort it by general ledger, and then it's real easy to see if things are in the wrong category. And
yeah, this makes it a little bit easier to look over.
And they actually have a person there for each account. Every time you click a different view option, actually rearranging it really quick. No, I'm just kidding.
That'd be a little time consuming. All right, so now once I'm ready to go ahead and submit the report, I can click submit up at the top. Again, you can do all this from your phone. You don't have to touch the website. Once you're ready to submit, based on that approval flow that we set on the admin side, the email of the person I'm submitting to or supposed to submit to will populate here. So I'm going to go ahead and say submit. If I'm not following one of the rules that was set, it's going to flag it and let me know. It's going to say, hey, you forgot to do this. Make sure you go back and do it. But today we're just going to say yes anyways. And so this is a report that's been submitted. So as the approver, somebody reviewing a report, you can go in and make changes. So maybe it's your client submitting expenses to you, submitting their receipts, and they don't know what to code it to in the general ledger. So you can go ahead and fix it for them. You could also reject the individual expense. That's going to pull it off the report and put it back into their account. That way they know to do whatever they need to with it. You can leave them a little memo as to what they need to do with it. And then you can also reject it. And then we've got this handy section down here at the bottom.
yeah,
This is one of my favorite ones, is the report history and comments. So anytime somebody does something on a report, it makes a note of it. For those of you that don't know, Expensify also offers a wingman function where you can delegate access to your account to somebody else, and so they can do things on your behalf. And so that's actually what I'm doing right now. I'm wingmaned into the admin's account. And so then anytime I do something, it notes that I did it on behalf of this person. So pretty good from an audit standpoint.
yeah, that's a great feature with executive assistants who are doing their boss's expense report. Because I could, in the beginning, you never could figure out who was actually making the report.
Oh yeah, no, this is a fantastic feature. Our executive assistants love it. While they might not love doing, their boss's work for them, it definitely makes it a little bit easier on them.
I like setting up a category called "I have no idea."
The Ask My Accountant one.
Yeah, but exactly. Yeah, that's too boring. I have no idea.
I like that. Then we've got our comment section. So maybe I want more information, but I don't want to be really mean because I feel a little bit taken aback when somebody rejects one of my reports, whether I'm wrong or not. I don't want to get rejected. I hate rejection.
Eric already knows. I just automatically reject everything.
That sounds terrible. You gotta be nice to that guy. He's a nice guy too. So you can leave a quick comment. We could say, "What in the heck? All this for?"
Mm-hmm.
And so it leaves them a quick comment on the report, and it'll actually send them an email as well, letting them know somebody's left a comment for them, and they can either log back in, take a look, do what they need to, reply to the comment, make a change to an expense, something like that, or they can reply directly to the email, and that'll put the comment in the report as well.
Right. You could put Burt Castle in there with a question mark. And by the way, Katrina, who's watching, was good enough to Google it for us. And I posted the link in the chat to Burt Castle's website. Apparently they serve beer, and lots of it.
I think that's even better than soda.
Ah, okay.
I'm just glad they don't serve like all different kinds of beans, because then you can imagine what the name would be.
That's great. All right. So once the report is ready to go, we can go ahead and approve it. And so we're going to say final approve today. You've got a couple options after that. You could actually reimburse and Expensify. We offer ACH direct deposit reimbursement at no additional cost. So something that's there if you want to use it, but you don't have to. So and then coming down the pipeline soon.
Per reimbursement fee for that, like if we're in QuickBooks and we use direct deposit, it's like $1 something, 60 a piece.
There are no additional costs at all. You can reimburse 100 reports in one day, and you won't notice anything different in your bank account except for the amounts that you're reimbursing out of the reports.
That's a bonus right there.
I reimbursed somebody. You have a PayPal integration here too. I used to reimburse our sales guy for some stuff, and I forgot to ask him if he got charged the fee by PayPal.
I don't know on that one. So I'd be curious to know from him whether he got charged the fee or not. We actually most people don't use the PayPal option. I think one company uses the Bitcoin option, and they're a Bitcoin company. So most people just do it over the direct deposit ACH.
Direct deposit makes the most sense, as long as they're willing to put in their routing and account number on the receiving end, which some people are a little weary of that. That's definitely, I think, the best way.
All right, cool. So next step is we got to get this over to the accounting package. It looks pretty. We know what it's for, but it's not going to make a lot of sense to us as bookkeepers if we don't get it into our accounting package. So we're going to say export to. If my subscription was up for online, I could just click on this, but it's not. Something I'm actually pretty upset about. So it's taking a little while, but we'll forgive them. Today we're going to send it to Xero.
Export to CSV too.
You sure can. So we can send it to a CSV file. Again.
That's what I want. Yeah. I like to do that so I can do batch enter.
Batch enter, yeah.
And then we can pick the vendor names.
Yeah, but why would you want to do batch enter if you can have this just go directly into the accounting software?
Because I lose the vendor names.
Yeah, so that's a little bit of a limitation of our desktop connection, but we still definitely give you that option of CSV export. And
now,
that can be
isn't there a corporate account that allows you to send in the credit cards directly?
Yes, so you can do the credit cards directly to the credit card register. So you can do that with either desktop or online. And so we'll take a look at that after we send this report over to Xero. We definitely allow for the essentially administered cards.
Matt, with Xero, it pulls it into Xero with the email address, correct? Not as a username or a company, a supplier name.
It pulls in it pulls in the email address, yes. So we'll actually go. You guys still able to see the screen that I'm on right now, or is it still showing Expensify?
Yep. No, we're looking at Xero.
Cool.
We're gonna get your login here. We're gonna scrape it.
Well, you're not going to find a lot in there, so feel free to jump into our Xero account. It's just a lot of clutter and mess. It doesn't look very pretty. Just a lot of testing by us. But we send it in as a purchase awaiting payment. And so this is the report that I just sent over. Isn't that nice? No manual entry anymore. All right. So if we actually head back over to Expensify, we can take a look at those centrally administered cards. So we have a handy feature called Domain Control, where you can take control of your company's domain, and I'm not in the right account. Give me a second here. All right. So now we can look at domain control. And so this is where I've taken over control of my company's domain. In this case, it's expensicorp.com. So when we go in there, there's a couple different things we can do. First, we can see all of the accounts at that domain. Then we can see the admins, so the people that have the ability to see this section. Then we can group people, and we can give them a bunch of special permissions. So we can strictly enforce a bunch of things in the policy. And then the coolest section is our company cards. This is we're able to pull in cards from any bank or credit card institution, and once we bring those in, we can assign them out. So you can see here we've got a bunch of different cards, and you can see where they're assigned to the employee.
So then the other employees can't see someone else.
Exactly. So I can only see my charges. I can't see Chris's. Seth could only see his. He wouldn't see mine. So he doesn't know, what I'm doing on the weekends.
Right on.
That's right. So, and this is cool because this way the employees can link their own credit cards up and just choose the expenses they need to get reimbursed for.
Mm-hmm.
Or that they're company cards.
Yep. Which brings up the question, by the way, somebody's got a lot of background noise going on. If you don't mind muting. But it brings up the point about the vendor names. First of all, the question Katrina was asking, Matt, it looks like in Xero also on the import, the way you've shown it so far, the vendor names get lost there too. But I wanted to point out that normally, if I wasn't using Expensify, and I had an employee come to me and say, I have these receipts I need to be reimbursed for, I would normally just enter a bill to that employee and break down the expenses. I wouldn't have the vendor names in that case either. I guess I'm wondering, why do you want the vendor names on reimbursements to an employee for where they spent money? Silence. So anyway, at least we'll
sorry, I'm on my
food for thought.
iPad and I can't drive this thing. It depends on your workflow. I mean, if say I need to look up something 2 years from now for a warranty or a receipt, I want to be able to search.
Okay. I guess
and also it's good for when I read the general ledger, I like to see where things were purchased, and it helps me look for duplicates too.
No, normally I agree with that, but I'm thinking of that usage being where company card is being used, so there's no reimbursement anyway. I'm just downloading card feed for the company card, and that's all going into QuickBooks with the vendors. But when I'm reimbursing an employee, I guess I could see where an employee might use their own card to buy something that was warranted on our behalf. It just doesn't seem like it would be very common that would be done. Normally, if I'm buying something, the nature of it is such that there's a warranty associated. I don't imagine I would normally have somebody buy that on behalf of the company. The company would just pay for that directly. But I
have too many clients that use their personal credit cards for expenses, and then I get in the general ledger and I need to see more information.
Got it. Okay.
Gotcha. All right. Well, that's definitely some good feedback. So we will we'll keep that in mind, and maybe there'll be some changes down the road. But with QuickBooks Online, this is where we're able to assign this card to a card account in QuickBooks. So pretty cool there, where you can send it off against the child accounts. Saves quite a bit of time there. And then we can also run some reconciliation reports here in Expensify. So I could filter by date, and then I can make sure I'm using the right card type. So if I have maybe a couple companies in here, or a couple different card types, I can make sure I'm doing the right one. And then I can either do all expenses or unreported expenses, the ones that have yet to be added to a report. And then I can run that, and it just gives me a gigantic CSV with all the information from that card feed, whose account it's in, whether it's on a report or not, what category they've used, lots of good stuff there. All right, that about does it for my side of things, Seth.
All right, perfect. So, questions, comments, concerns?
I do have a question. Of course, I always have questions, right?
That's great. That's why we love you, Gina.
I saw that you connect directly with Bill.com.
Mm-hmm.
Would you want to do Bill.com and not QuickBooks in that instance? I can't imagine that you would want to connect to both.
Right. So you're definitely not going to want to send it to two places that end up talking to each other. Typically, to be honest, our Bill.com connection isn't used very often, because we do offer the ACH direct deposit reimbursement at no additional cost, no additional fees, and it's pretty fast too. So most people will just use our ACH reimbursement and then send it directly off to QuickBooks without ever touching Bill.com. With Bill.com, if you want to, by all means, you can connect to that. We send over a PDF with the expenses grouped by category, and that goes directly into your Bill.com inbox.
I would see how bills and expenses could work going directly to Bill.com and then letting Bill.com and QuickBooks sync, but the credit card part would be a problem.
Right. Credit card part, definitely don't send that to Bill.com. You can send that directly to...
I'm thinking the flow here is a bill, such as from an expense report, and correct me if I'm wrong, Matt, get pushed to Bill.com so that it can be processed for payment and then ultimately sync back to your accounting software.
That's definitely the flow, if you decide to go to Bill.com.
Yeah, and keep in mind, you might have your credit card feeds, for example, connected both to Expensify and your accounting software. If you're going to do it that way, it's really important that when you're in your accounting software, you first make sure you've done the Expensify side, and whatever pushes you need from Expensify back to your accounting software have to happen first before you download your credit card or bank feeds into your accounting software, because that way your accounting software will pick up and match those expenses. Otherwise, you'll wind up with duplicates potentially. Really, really important that you're sort of on top of that flow. And then Jay, I guess, Jay, you've unmuted. Do you want to ask your question?
Yeah, so Matt, you mentioned adding your clients as a connection. So are we best to add our console or have them have
So that's a great question, and it's really up to you and your client in regards to who you want to be responsible for billing. So the person who pays Expensify, how we get our money, that's the owner of the policy. So this account here is the one that has to put the card on file for this particular client. Now that could be you. It could be your client. That's up to you. But whoever needs to, whether they're the policy owner or not, can be inside of the policy, and as long as they are an admin, so you can have multiple admins on a policy, you can say this person here is an admin as well, they can go in and establish that connection with the accounting software. So if your client already has Expensify set up and they're like, hey, I just need to get this connected to the awesome accounting work that you're doing for me, they can add you as an admin, and then you can come in and connect it to QuickBooks, to Xero, to FreshBooks, whatever you're working with.
And you can add as many domains and domain control for that as well?
You can be in part of as many domains as you need to, absolutely.
Okay.
But just to clarify, the domain control establishes what domains can be emailed from to get expenses into Expensify?
No, so domain control is for a company that needs a little bit more advanced controls. So maybe I start to use company cards, or maybe I want to really take control over some of the accounts that I have. So if I pop open this permissions group, this is where you really start to nail down some of the rules we have in place. It takes it a second to load, but you can strictly enforce policy rules. So where you have that max expense amount, you require categories to be used. This halts a report from being submitted unless every single rule is being followed. So they cannot click submit until that one's set. The strictly
So
enforced
if they haven't
expense
picked a
policy-
proper category or a job costed, if that's a requirement, this will stop them altogether from being able to submit, because otherwise it just gives them a warning, but they can still submit, right?
That's correct. Now, I definitely want to make sure that we note that this is a all or none. So just keep in mind that sometimes there are like extenuating circumstances, maybe for that max expense amount, where maybe you set it to like 10 grand for any one expense, but they need to go buy a car. I don't know what costs more than 10 grand in the office, but if they need to go pick something up that's more, this being turned on would not allow them to submit that. There is no, if extenuating circumstances are there. It's all or none. So be careful with the strictly enforced expense policy rules. With the workflows one, that's for how we set who submits the reports to somebody else. So they can't alter who they send the report to. So maybe they think, oh, it'd be cool to just send it to Steve over in sales. He'll approve it for me. This allows you to lock that down. So the report has to go to the right person. It never goes to somebody else. You can restrict their primary login. Pretty straightforward there. They can't add their Gmail account to their work account and then say, this is I want this to be my primary login. You can restrict expense policy creation and removal, so really locks down who is able to make changes to or create policies. And then if you have maybe a company where employees are in multiple policies or something like that, you can restrict their primary one. So it always defaults to that particular policy and makes them use that one. So strict rules there. And then the other portion, like we talked about earlier, was for domain control is the company card section. So it's probably the biggest part of it.
Now, regardless of what accounting software you use, when we're finalizing a report, we do make a copy as a PDF as our file copy, and it's wonderful. It brings in all the receipts and everything in one simple file.
Yep, by all means, definitely able to do that. And I guess something along those lines, Expensify actually never deletes information. So if you use it this year and then maybe not next year, but 6 years from now, you need to come back and have access to those images for proof.
Really? I didn't know that.
Mm-hmm. We keep everything. As long as you don't delete your account, whether you're paying us or not, we keep everything.
Quick question on pricing for you. I am in the approved accountants program, so I'm not concerned with paying my bill. But I've been using Expensify for 2 years, and I use it strictly for mileage track. With my credit cards, my use are tied to Xero. But I do expense reports monthly for mileage, and I just submitted the all at the end of the year. That counts as one user for that month, correct?
That is correct.
Wow.
So for a small business, like real estate, it's a great product, and I recommend all my clients use it to track mileage. So if it's kind of cheating, but you really only get once a year to get that mileage into the financials, and it's a great product for that. I can't say enough about Expensify.
Happy to hear that. Thank you.
Yep. So, all right, we've got about 5 minutes left. So far, we only have one person who guessed at the color of Joanne's shirt. So, Katrina, you're the lucky winner. Make sure that you email Eric at bookkeeping.com with the information about what size T-shirt you want. Matt, if you hover your mouse back over and click the same icon, you click to start screen sharing. That'll end your screen sharing. There you are. So Katrina, email that information to Eric at schoolofbookkeeping.com. Make sure he has your address where you want the T-shirt sent, the size, everything else, and you will be able to wear a shirt around with my likeness in the format of the Expensify logo. What could be better?
Channel your inner Andy Warhol there.
You know, it's funny because I have a friend here who makes T-shirts, and he made a T-shirt for me with my same logo, me and my dog. And he made an oversized one to his wife to wear, and apparently because it was an oversized T-shirt, like T-shirts like that. But she admitted to me that it kind of creeped her out a little bit to be wearing a T-shirt to bed with my picture on it. Apparently she scratched it off. I was like, I don't blame you one bit. So again, the course is live at schoolofbookkeeping.com/Expensify. It's free. You don't have to be a student to sign up. If you want to use our answers form to ask questions, that you do have to be a student for. And if you have questions and aren't signed up, and for some crazy reason don't want to, then we have our group on Facebook called Accountants, Bookkeepers, and Business Owners, and everybody's only too happy to jump in there and answer questions. Of course, I highly recommend that you sign up for schoolofbookkeeping.com and take advantage of the resources that we offer, because we offer some pretty good resources, and it's like $24 a month. You won't even feel. You can submit that expense on Expensify and get reimbursed from your employer. There you have it. My shameless plug. All right, we got 3 minutes left. Anybody else want to talk? Anybody need some therapy? You want to tell us your problems? We're going to sit you back, relax you on a couch. Perhaps not. Then with that, we will end the show. So don't forget that if you got a little bit of a look at Expensify's integration with Xero, later on today, Gina is going to be doing a Xero demo in her Hangout, which happens at 2:30 Pacific, 5:30 Eastern. So do check that out and participate. Gina, give us the details. How do we get there?
You have to be a member of my community, or you go to the event page. You'll see the Xero story event there. Just ask for leave a comment there, and I will be sure to invite you.
Excellent. Thank you all. So, and Matt, where do people go to get Expensify? I think it's pretty obvious, but just in case.
They can go to expensify.com. For anybody curious about the Approved Accountants Partner Program, need to sign up. Feel free to go to use.expensify.com/accountants. You can also just find that on that page there, handy links there. Sign up. You'll probably get a call from me walking you through everything, making sure you understand it. Any questions you might have, also feel free to reach out to our accountant support, which is approved@expensify.com.
Excellent. So again, if y'all have any questions, reach out to Matt, reach out to me, go review the course. I've got, like I said, 12 lessons, like an hour and a half of video going through piece by piece every aspect of Expensify that you've just seen inside of the hour today, just kind of going through it all a little more slowly so that you can get set up and make sure that you know how to use everything that's available to you, or almost everything that's available to you in Expensify. And when the new mobile app rolls out, we'll have lessons ready to go that will walk you through what that looks like.
That's when I'm getting off.
All right, everybody. We will see you all later on today. Gina's Hangout.
Bye, everybody. Thanks.
Take care. Thanks, Matt.